Can India and Europe really grow strong ties together? Namaste, everyone, and welcome back to my channel called Zuzanareacts, where I learn all things Bharat with your help. And I just share my Slovak Central European point of view. In today's video, we're going to explore if we are strengthening as Europe via Germany and building strong ties with India, if it's actually likely to happen. Let's find out together.
India has changed enormously in the last decade. There are more than 1,600 global capability centers in India that generate about $120 billion worth of business every year. This is now an India of moon landings and a Mars mission, a prolific manufacturer of vaccines and medicines, increasingly important to the global semiconductor industry and to contract engineering. We plan to create 12 new industrial zones across the country to boost manufacturing. Accelerating skills development is a major focus. New logistics initiatives will target ports, highways, and railroads, and our aviation industry is set for a major expansion. Most of you would be familiar with India in some manner. You may or may not have served there, visited there, but you would have a broad sense of it. But allow me to give you a brief description, because India has changed enormously in the last decade. It is today a near $4 trillion economy that has 8% growth prospects for decades further to come, where the pace of infrastructure growth is reflected in 8 new airports and 1 to 2 new metro systems built annually, where 28 kilometers of highway and 12 kilometers of railway track are laid daily. Its embrace of digital technologies is creating a public infrastructure on a massive scale. It has enabled, in the last decade, a housing program that has benefited about 170 million people, a health coverage of 660 million, and loans that are given annually to 58 small businesses. India records the highest digital financial transactions in the world, which are currently about 13 billion each month. It has the third largest startup ecosystem with 117 unicorns. Now, in addition to this, I want to stress that its human resources are also being transformed. Universities and colleges have virtually doubled in the last 10 years. There are more than 1,600 global capability centers in India that generate about $120 billion worth of business every year. The relevance of Indian talent to global workplace is visible in so many services and professions, and driving a global interest in concluding mobility agreements with us. This is now an India of moon landings and a Mars mission, a prolific manufacturer of vaccines and medicines, increasingly important to the global semiconductor industry and to contract engineering. Now, having said that, let me also be clear that there is much for us to do and a lot for us to grow. Recognizing this, the Modi government, early in its third term, has already embarked on a number of important initiatives. We plan to create 12 new industrial zones across the country to boost manufacturing. Accelerating skills development is a major focus. New logistics initiatives will target ports, highways, and railroads, and our aviation industry is set for a major expansion. Now, in all of this, foreign policy matters. It matters because global technology, resources, and best practices can make a big difference to our future. When India engages Germany and the European Union, this is a key consideration. For partners like you, it could mean both expanding markets and reliable supply chains. But there is a larger picture as well. Whether it is green and clean energy, sustainable urbanization, or new and emerging technologies, our cooperation contributes to a better world. As we enter the age of AI, of electric mobility, of green hydrogen, of space and semiconductors, the case for our collaboration only becomes stronger. While doing so, we must also assess our relationship in the context of the state of the world. Whether it is the volatility of pandemics, climate events, conflicts, or coercion, there is a growing interest in forging more reliable and resilient supply chains. Similarly, the digital era requires trusted partners and secure data flows. When it comes to international peace and stability, those with shared values and convergent interests must collaborate in defense and security. Each of these considerations has a direct relevance to the future growth of our ties. So with those words, allow me to flag some specific points in regard to our relationship. One, as the ambassador told us, the 7th intergovernmental consultations in India is due to take place and will be particularly significant because it will provide directions at a very crucial time on key issues. Two, our trade, currently at about 30 billion euros annually, and the mutual investment levels can surely do better. Changes in India and the easier business climate should serve as a motivation. Three, the 18th Asia-Pacific Conference of German Business, APK 2024, in New Delhi in October is therefore particularly important. Four, innovation and technology have to be given greater weight in our calculations. We need to think digital, AI, fintech, clean and green technologies. Five, defense cooperation must be given greater thought, especially as the Indian private sector expands in that domain. It will require export controls updating as well. We welcome the recent air exercises between India and Germany and await the impending ship visits to Goa. Six, our green and sustainable development partnership is making sure and steady progress. We have concluded 38 agreements to the tune of 3.22 billion euros. It only underlines the potential in this area, especially for green hydrogen and green ammonia. Seven, there are today 43,000 Indian students studying in Germany. And this, I understand, is roughly double the number over the last 5 years. But the flow of talent could be very much higher, constituting the kind of living bridge that we have with the United States. This could be supplemented by understandings on skills mobility. Eight, and most important because it applies to us foreign ministers, we need close and continuous consultations on global issues. This is necessary to build the levels of trust and confidence which behoves our partnership. And this is what I expect to do with Foreign Minister Baerbock after this meeting. So, on that note, let me also share some thoughts about how we see the world today. There is no question that it is undergoing a profound shift, transitioning from the order that was fashioned after 1945. This is visible in an economic rebalancing accelerated by globalization. It is reinforced by the accompanying political consequences. There is a basis for today for talking about multipolarity, though this is still, in my view, work very much still in progress. From India's perspective, we see European Union and Germany as one of the key players in this emerging scenario. The strategic awareness that has perhaps grown in recent years in this region is therefore of considerable interest to us. At the same time, we must also recognize the reality of interdependence and the limitations of our particular respective national capabilities. In a globalized existence, instability anywhere has consequences everywhere. It is untenable, therefore, for major nations to limit their horizons. But to act on that, it is necessary to forge partnerships and understandings. That is best done where there is comfort, where there is confidence, and where there is convergence. This is what we are seeking as we build between India and Germany a stronger relationship. And that is why we believe that Germany too should take greater interest in the Indo-Pacific, just as we in India seek to do in the Euro-Atlantic. Today, geopolitics, geoeconomics, and technology are driving us closer. How much we make of it depends on all of us.
Well. I mean, Jaishankar did it again. I love this man. You guys know, I love this man. I love the way he carries himself, the way he speaks. I really love the speech. It is clearly about having Germany as the driver, really, of the European Union to really deeply think about building the relationships with India. And I loved how he has enumerated the India's achievements, and I think that he put forward a really strong argument. I would wonder if you guys know if there was any output as a result of that meeting of him and the foreign minister of Germany. He talked a lot about skills in India and big plans, and I would love to know what the government over there is doing to support it, because for example in Slovakia the government is realizing the whole things with aging population and the speed of change. So they are even really, like right now, I think yesterday I watched a video about, or like somewhere in the news, they're introducing new laws help people to reskill easier or re-educate themselves better. So it's interesting to see what kind of initiatives is actually India doing. And let me just see. I had put some notes if there was something else I wanted to mention. Um, I quite like the argument when he talked about and he made the case for India, where he goes like, it's going to have 8% growth for the perceivable future, which is really nice. And I think that when he's talking about the skills, it's very interesting, because as I mentioned, I would love to know what exactly is India doing, because right now, at least the way I see it, it's that there are a lot of things being outsourced to India. But I guess in time, like India is going to learn very much so on the grander scheme of things from those outsourced projects. And I would love to know, what is that housing program that he has mentioned, like help, I think if I remembered correctly, 170 million people. That's quite interesting. What actually caught my attention was aviation. It's I know from very close sources. So, for example, Tata is now in Germany. They have a rather small office because they bought a lot of planes from Airbus. So it does look like, that's what he's maybe even mentioning about the major expansion. I don't know, but there it was like a huge purchase of planes, huge purchase. And I'm very curious if that maybe is even, there is something more to it when it comes to expansion is behind that. And as he says, like, I think that we are all, the world is interdependent, so everything affects everything at this point in time. And I do believe that Europe should really consider partnering a bit more with India, because from what I know from you and from what it just keeps being apparent to me, is that India is indeed a trusted and reliable partner. Um, so I would, as I mentioned in the other video, when I met our foreign prime minister, and I told him, just please work with India. I see personally, I've said it many times, India is evolving to me a superpower. I don't really want to hear in the comments that you don't want to be a superpower and all that kind of stuff. I understand your concepts, but I'm just naming it from whether you like it or not. I think India is going to get there sooner or later. I'm not precious about using the terms. I mean, I'm not here to offend, but I don't think that this conversation is valid. Like, India is majorly evolving. When he talked about the number of kilometers being laid, that's what I was really impressed when I've been to India. I was like, wow, the level of construction there, at least from the country states that I have visited, it felt like, fuck, like if this continues that way, it's like this in 10 years is going to be already another drastic change. And he mentioned that India is not what it used to be, and it has majorly changed in the last 10 years. But I feel like next 10 years for your country are going to be super critical, and if done well and executed well, India is indeed going to skyrocket. So I don't see a reason why not for the Western European countries to further build their ties with Germany. We talked about deal with other European countries that India has already scored, and I feel like the politicians and the people that are interested in these topics are closely observing and watching that, and they are understanding what the opportunities are. In fact, I would say even more than 10 years ago, you would have, like, people, at least in the UK, would have started to understand the outsourcing capability of India, and this is why a lot has been moved. And over the last decade, it's been progressively more things being moved to India, which will build India, which I don't know where it actually leads to or what it means for Europe, because I personally, from all that I've learned watching these videos with you guys, is that the manufacturing is really important for the economy. And if everything is then, on the other hand, outsourced, I'm not too sure where that leads. Any of your thoughts, much appreciated. But yeah, I'm not an economist. I'm not claiming I understand anything, but that to me does not signify anything good. But at least if you have, if you're partnering with a country that has a peaceful philosophy, and yes, demonstrating that time and time again, I think, to me, as a generic person, one in a million, it's a no-brainer. So so I wonder what you guys think, if you what that deal was about, what he was talking about, and what do you think that is going to happen, how, maybe from where you're sitting, how you see those relations evolving. Please do let me know in the comments below. And with that being said, thank you so much for watching this video with me. If you did enjoy, please give thumbs up, share, like, and subscribe to this channel. And I'll see you next time. Until then, please do take care. I'm sending lots of love. Bye-bye.